Nobody really notices anyway. How many of you struggle with feelings of self-doubt or fear? Fear that your grades, your GPA, your college admissions, it's never going to be good enough. You're not going to get into the right school and pick the right major. You're not going to be able to have the right friends or be able to please your parents or teachers. I'm sure many of you believe that if you can just finish high school successfully, that you'll have it made in your life. Well, let me share with you. High school is not really the main event. It is important, but it's not the main event. I'm here to remind you that high school is the beginning of your journey, not the high point. This is not the end of life. I worry about you because I'm sure that you are not always understanding the truth about high school. You see, the main event is not really your academic learning. The main event of high school is really learning how to live your life. It's not algebra. It's not AP classes and grades. It's not pleasing your parents. It's really learning how to deal with adversity and make decisions. The best path to learning how to succeed at the main event and to feel better about yourself is to start noticing your own thoughts and your behaviors, often the automatic thoughts, and find out what thoughts you have, what behaviors you have that don't really serve you very well. You want to find different ways to develop more compassion and different ways to think and behave. I've tried to put together a list of things that I think are important for every high school student to know. First of all, it's really important to be kind, and that's not always easy. It takes guts to be gentle and to be kind. It's so much easier to ignore kids who are weird or different, but you're better than that. I know you are. I know every one of you are better than that. Be kinder than necessary. And don't laugh when jokes aren't really funny. I'm reminded by one of my mentors years ago who always said to me, "You never know the battles that people are facing in your life, so be careful about judging them." A second thing that I would suggest to you, I'm sure you've heard this one, look up from your phone. First of all, in doing this, you will be able to show your parents that you really do have some social skills, even though they doubt that you do. And secondly, there's actually a lot of stuff that's going on around you. You may not face disappointment every day, but you're going to face disappointment. You're going to bomb a big test, you're going to get a bad grade. Maybe the girl that you have a crush on thinks you're a jerk. Maybe the guy that you're really interested in can't even see you when you say hello. Maybe you get cut from a team. But, you know, there are going to be many, many, many of these times when things like this happen. And you're going to really feel, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me in my life. You're going to be making bargains with God. And it's not just, please, Lord, let it snow harder so I don't have to go to school. Rest assured, what it is not the worst thing in your life. There are going to be far worse things that happen to you. What happens to you in high school gets you ready for the main event, for the real things in life, for the real issues and problems and difficulties that you're going to face. Life comes at us in waves, and sometimes it feels like those waves crush us and hold us down. But that will pass, and life will improve. And every time you learn how to handle something that disappoints you, you get better at it. And it's not that you want your life to be filled with disappointment, for heaven's sakes. But what will happen is that you won't always get your way. And you won't always get what you want. And that can be disappointing, but that's not the end of the world. Another thing I would say to you is, please, for heaven's sakes, don't let fear keep you from doing things. Don't be afraid that you're going to look like a fool Don't be afraid that people are going to judge you. It's scary to put yourself out there. It's scary to be who you are and who you're meant to be. And, you know, that's pretty confusing. I mean, sometimes we don't even know who that is. Do some things that are different. Step outside of your box. Try something that's exciting. Try something that you may not have thought about doing a year ago. All of you are seniors. Many of you will be going on to college. You really have an opportunity to reinvent what it is that you're interested in and what it is you want to be. And whether you go to college or not, you have your whole life ahead of you. You have lots of opportunities to try and to be the way you want to be. Don't let fear stop you. Don't allow the what-ifs in life to make you feel crazy. Makes you anxious if you're constantly looking ahead. Well, what if that doesn't work? And what if it fails? And what if I look like an idiot? So what? It's really not a big deal. How many of you stay up all night sometimes to study for a test? Yeah. What I'm going to say to you is, you know what, guys? You need to go to bed. You need to get some sleep. I can remember, and it was a very, very long time ago when I was in high school, but I can remember before SATs and ACTs, our teachers and our guidance counselors used to say to us, you can't cram it in your head. It's there. What you need to do is go to bed the night before you have a big test. Get up, eat a great breakfast, and go to school. Don't stay up all night. Now, with that said, of course we all occasionally pull all-nighters. But what I would say to you is sleep deprivation is real. It makes people kind of nutty. It makes you make bad decisions. Spend some time going to sleep. Stop worrying. That's all. Just do it. Another lesson that's important to learn in high school is being a team player. Now, what that really means is you're going to be doing group projects. I'm sure all of you have had labs, group projects, different group presentations. It's important to learn how to go with the flow and work with other people. Very often when you're working on a group project, that's one of the first times you really come in contact with somebody that you know you don't want to work with again. It's like, oh my gosh, they're really slacking, or gee whiz, boy are they a control freak. This is not going to be the last time in your life when you have that happen to you. So it becomes important to assert your ideas, pull your weight, be a team member, and don't be the person who never gives another teammate a chance to succeed. Sometimes it's important when you've done your part to just be there and to say, what do you think? What would you like to do to make this project complete or better? Encourage others just like you would like to be encouraged. Now here's probably one of the most important things that I want to share with you today. Grades matter. But you know what? They really don't. Now, I know that sounds like a big contradiction. Grades matter because they do determine your GPA. They will help you get into a college or a major or an area of study that you want to be in. But you know, life is so much more than grades. The most important thing about academic work is that you do it. Now, I know a lot of you probably feel you have a lot of pressure from your parents. They want you think they want you to be A students and have a 4.0. You know what? Not everybody has a 4.0. And that's okay. That's okay. The most important lesson to take from this is that we need to do the best that we can in a given moment, and then we need to move on. And that's not an excuse. And I don't want you going home and saying to your parents, we had this speaker today who said grades don't matter. They do, but they don't. You have to look beyond that. You are so much more than a letter or a number. You are so much more comprehensive than a letter or a number. And believe me, I have been out of high school for a long, long time. I don't remember what grade I got in microbiology of the gene. I don't remember what grade I got in English literature. But I remember the experiences in high school that shaped me. And I remember the people in high school who helped turn me into the person I am today. That's what matters. That's part of the main event. Another lesson, an important one. Remember that you're cooler than you think. And by that, I don't mean you're the center of the universe or you're narcissistic or everybody loves you. What I mean by that is it doesn't mean doing what you think your friends want you to do. Being cool is really being confident about who you are and where you stand on things and being able to share that. You don't have to apologize for liking what you like. You don't have to apologize for being who you are. It's important to really think about that and allow that person and that sense of identity to grow. Being cool really means a lot of different things. But most of all, it means making peace with yourself. And it means taking into account some of the things that we've talked about just a couple of minutes ago, which is being kind and being able to relate to other people. Another lesson in life, and this is another hard one. Give up on trying to be perfect. Give yourself credit for trying, and I really mean that. It's important for you to try. For many of you, how many of you are in sports? Okay? When you first went out for the sport that you loved, and I used to do a lot of running. First time I ever ran a 10K, it took me an hour and 10 minutes. Now, for many of you fast high school students, that's like, oh my God, she's really slow. I know, I was pretty slow. And I was huff and puff away. But over time, I was able to do it better. But I never won the BIPs, and I never won first place in a 10K. And that really was not what I tried to do. What I tried to do was to just get out there and, number one, compete. Because no matter what anybody tells you, competition is important. It helps you kind of see where you're going and what you're doing. But the most important thing to do is to compete with yourself. You don't have to compete with everybody around you. You are not who they are. You are who they are. In competing with ourselves and in trying to do our best, not perfect, but in trying to do our best, we're going to make mistakes. And you know, one of the things, as I was chatting with your guidance counselors and with Mr. Zimmer and some of the other folks about putting this presentation together, one of the things that it really made me think about was, you know, making a mistake is not an endpoint. That's not what defines you. To make a mistake teaches you something. Now, what becomes problematic is if you make the same mistake over and over and over again. Then you kind of have to say to yourself, what am I doing here? To make a mistake is not an endpoint, it's a life lesson. Every opportunity, every day you walk in this building, every day you wake up and greet your life is an opportunity to make a fresh start and to act differently. And you know, the interesting thing about that is people reinvent themselves all through their lives. All through their lives. You know, I have been working at Vera French Mental Health Center for, believe it or not, 40 years. I am not the same person today that I was when I started there in 1975. Through life, our experiences and the people we meet shape us. Be open to that and be open to doing a good enough job. Don't be blinded by trying to be perfect. That's a really important life lesson for you to take away from here. Kind of in partnership with that is the whole issue of not being a people pleaser. Now this is a hard one. This is a hard one because some of us are in some ways kind of hardwired to do this. We want to be liked. We want people to appreciate us. We're sometimes born into a family where we try to please everybody around us, and that behavior in many instances is rewarded. But it becomes important to understand, even though you can be empathetic with people, and even though you know how other people may feel in certain situations, you are not put on this earth to make other people happy. You are not put on this earth to make other people pleased. You're put here to find your path. You're put here to walk your own journey. You are not responsible for other people's feelings. Now, when I say that, obviously, I don't want you going around and kind of being cruel to people and name-calling and doing cruel things. I mean, that's inappropriate. But it is very important for you to be honest with yourself. And that's what it means to not be a people pleaser. You always have a choice about what you like, what you feel, and what you want to do. Every day, I'm sure many of you come to school and you look at somebody else and you think, oh God, I love those Uggs. I wish I had them. I wish I was that tall. Boy, is she pretty. Or man, is he ever good on the football field. We do a lot of comparing. We do a lot of comparing of ourselves to other people. And I want you to remember something. Theodore Roosevelt, and I'm sure all of you know who he is, Theodore Roosevelt once said, comparison is the thief of joy. Now what that means is, if I am so focused on how I look as compared to other people, how I am performing as compared to other people, there is no spontaneity and joy in my life. It robs me of my ability to be present today and to do what I need to do today. The other thing that I want you to leave here remembering, and this really is an important thing that I want you to remember, when you compare yourself to other people, you're comparing your insides. You know everything about yourself. You're comparing your insides with everybody else's outsides. You look at them and you think you know what's going on with them, and you don't. The problem in our lives when we compare ourselves to other people is we really never know what their journey is. We never know what their personal challenges are. Some people are pretty good about kind of broadcasting it, and they tell us, but a lot of people suffer in silence. They don't share what's on their inside, and all you see is what they've chosen to let you know. And that's not a whole picture. That's not a complete picture. So it becomes really important to think about that. I want to remind you, it takes a lot of courage to grow up and to really be the person that you want to turn out to be. And you've got to get up every day and be courageous. Get up every day and face whatever difficulties or controversies are in your life and make a decision and make a promise to yourself that you're going to do the best that you can do, because that's all you can do. The message to leave here with today is you do not have to be the best. You know, life is a pyramid. Not everybody's the best. But it is important to be honest with yourself and to do the best that you can do. The other thing I want to do is I really want to remind you and you may or may not feel this, everybody in this room is loved by many adults in your environment. You have lots of people around you who want to help you succeed in whatever it is that you choose to succeed in. And if you are struggling, if you are having difficulties, if you are feeling that you're never going to be able to make it, whatever that means, that you have a lot of resources available to you. And those resources include the obvious: your parents, your extended family, perhaps older siblings, friends. But I want to remind you, please don't be therapists to each other, because that's not what your job is. Your job is to be a friend and a sounding board. And if you have a friend that's in trouble, you need to get them to an adult. Besides your family, besides your parents, besides your friends, besides those coaches and others that you spend a lot of time with, there are lots of people in this environment who care about you. And that includes people like your administrative staff, your guidance staff. You've got a mental health counselor here at school. You've got lots of resources available to you. And it becomes very important for you to remember kind of the last thing that I want to share with you. And that is, if you need something, all you need to do is ask for it. Step out of your fear. Step out of your concern about being thought badly of, and just ask for it. So with that, I leave you with that message. I hope that your Christmas holiday is good, and that